3, 2, 1, go!
Hello Nidorinos and Nidorinos, it is King Nido here, and today we are in Pony Canyon where the Fissure are facing the Pewter Stones, and both these sides have so much riding on this matchup as the Pewter Stones start out massively with Tyranitar and Omastar. It is Rhydon and Garchomp starting out for the Fissure, and Tyranitar's Sandstream is immediately activated, which will not hinder either side in this matchup. That Gear Up will fail from Garchomp to start this matchup off, but Tyranitar going for the Leech Life onto its fellow Pseudo Legendary does get a good hit there, but Garchomp's Rough Skin will do recoil damage there to Tyranitar, as Omastar with the Bullet Seed going for the quad effective damage onto Rhydon gets that first hit. It could get an elimination with 5 hits here. It's got 2, but it will only get 2 of those hits, which I'm sure Rhydon is grateful for. It goes for a multi-hit move of its own, going for the Scale Shot onto Tyranitar here. It will have its defense lowered by doing this, but it will get a speed boost. See if it can actually move quicker than the 2 Rock-type Pokemon on the field. Its fellow Rock-type Pokemon, in fact, as Garchomp is going to set up for a Meteor Beam here. It is going to boost its special attack. It is more of a physical attacker, but we'll see how strong it can be in this coming turn. As Rhydon with the X-Scissor onto Omastar gets a good hit, but surely it should have gone for Tyranitar for that super effective damage, as Tyranitar sets up for the Doom Desire, choosing Doom as its destiny, and Omastar throws a substitute out onto the field using some of its own health to do that. That could be a very good play, but Garchomp will go for the Meteor Beam here, and it goes for Tyranitar. Tyranitar tanks that hit so well though, as that Heal Pulse does fail from Rhydon, thankfully for the Pony Canyon Fissure, as Tyranitar with the Yawn onto Rhydon. We will see that Pokemon fall asleep shortly as it does grow drowsy. Trick or Treat from Omastar is going to add the Ghost typing now to Garchomp, giving it a 3rd typing here. It's not very often we see 3rd typings here in the Poketype League, as the Psychic Terrain is set up by Garchomp. But as I said, a lot riding on this game. If the Pony Canyon Fissure win, they will move themselves up from 2nd into 1st place. The Pewter Stones are looking to move themselves into the Masters 8, potentially even get into the Elite Four, as a Zap Cannon from Rhydon will leave Tyranitar paralyzed. And now Omastar going for the Boom Burst. This will not affect Garchomp now that it has that Ghost type, and it almost eliminates Tyranitar with that move. Thankfully it wasn't very effective on Tyranitar or Rhydon. The Fake Out fails from Tyranitar, but here is that Doom Desire connecting onto Garchomp, getting great damage there on the ground. Dragon type as Rhydon finally falls asleep, and Garchomp with the attack order now onto Tyranitar is going to finish off its fellow Pseudo Legendary with a super effective critical hit. I do not believe it needed the critical hit, but just for good measure, and Tyranitar is eliminated as Rhydon is fast asleep on the field, and Omastar now will go for the Fury Cutter onto Garchomp, doing very little damage there as it's not very effective. And Garchomp with that Rough Skin, it actually did more damage to Omastar than Omastar did to it, but that Sandstorm over the field now finally subsides. As we said, it did not hinder either of these two sides, as Archeops comes out for the Pewter Stones and immediately going for the Flame Wheel here onto Garchomp. Garchomp tanks that hit, not very effective yet again, but it is left with the burn. And there's that Rough Skin hidden ability yet again being activated. Archeops taking damage there. Garchomp with the Energy Ball. This would do quad damage to Omastar if it was not for that substitute. That substitute does pay off for the Water Rock type Fossil. Rhydon's still fast asleep on the field as the Stones have 2 Fossil type Pokemon on the field, and Omastar, taking inspiration from Archeops, goes for the Brave Bird onto Garchomp, gets the elimination. That Rough Skin ability does get activated yet again onto Omastar, and Omastar is going to take a little bit of recoil damage, but it will still be in this matchup. And now Hippowdon comes out for the Pony Canyon Fissure as Archeops with the Ally Switch. It is going to change places with Omastar on the field. Rhydon still snoozing away on the field. Omastar with the Fire Spin onto Rhydon. Rhydon's going to take continuous damage being trapped in that Fiery Vortex, and Hippowdon with the Iron Tail finishes Omastar off. Omastar is eliminated. This will put the Fissure in front at the moment as Aurorus comes out onto the field, and Archeops with the Mega Horn onto Rhydon gets the elimination with that critical hit. A fantastic play there by Archeops, leveling the playing field yet again. Overheat, Hippowdon will avoid that from Aurorus, and that Psycho Shift does fail as the Psychic Terrain disappears from the battlefield, and now out comes Rhyperior to avenge Rhydon surely, as Archeops sets up the Solar Blade. It surely wants to go for Rhydon capitalize on that ground rock typing Hippowdon, causing the uproar, going for Aurorus. It will still be super effective if Archeops goes for Hippowdon though, as Rhyperior going for the Razor Leaf. Aurorus avoids it, gets a good hit there on Archeops. Hippowdon continuing to make that uproar, but Archeops is going to go for the Solar Blade. And it connects with a great hit on Hippowdon, but Hippowdon is still in this matchup. Aurorus, so with the Boom Burst and with that Refrigerate ability, changes it to an Ice type move, and it is super effective on everyone and eliminates everyone on the field, including Archeops. Hippowdon is taken out though, and Rhyperior is taken out. A huge play by Aurorus, all by itself. Very risky though. This does put Pewter Stones in front as Barbaracle comes out for the Rock types. It's Seismitoad and Swampert coming out for the Fissure, and they work so well together. Seismitoad immediately with the Hypnosis does put Aurorus to sleep. These are two Pokemon you do want on your side, trying to do what they can. Barbaracle though with the Payday onto Swampert, doing a bit of chip damage there to the Homeland Water Starter, who responds with the Air Cutter. This will hit both Barbaracle and Aurorus, not very effective on either of them, however, as Aurorus is still asleep onto the field. After that very impressive Boom Burst, it will be hit by a Spirit Shackle from Seismitoad. Good damage there as well with that critical hit from Seismitoad. Aurorus can no longer escape, but Barbaracle going for the dual Wing Beat, continuing to go for Swampert. Two very good hits there on the ground Water type as Swampert responds with the Dragon Pulse. It is going to go for Aurorus with this move, however. Aurorus tanks that quite well and does wake up, and it is going to go for the Disarming Voice. This will hit both Swampert and Seismitoad for very little damage, as Seismitoad with the lock on, it is going to focus in on Aurorus here with that lock on. The Flower Shield does fail from Barbaracle, allowing Swampert now to go for the Draco Meteor. This is going to lower its special attack, but it will connect with Barbaracle on that move. Gets a really good hit there on Barbaracle as well, but as I said, does lower that special attack of Swampert, as Aurorus is going to go for the Moonblast here onto Swampert, and Swampert holds on by a thread. It does have its special attack lowered yet again. Seismitoad with the Sacred Fire though onto Aurorus is going to eliminate the Colosseum Fossil here. Seismitoad continuing its great season of eliminations as Barbaracle with the Coil now. Keeping off that offensive, it is going to boost its attack stat as well as its defense and its accuracy. It will want to capitalize on that boosted attack, and it already has 105 physical attack as that Fairy Lock. No one will be able to escape, but they will all finish this matchup. Colossal coming out as the last Pokemon for the Stones, and Seismitoad with the Zing Zap, super effective there on Barbaracle, but Barbaracle holds on and begins to absorb light. It's going to set up for a Solar Beam. We already saw a Solar Blade by Archeops. This could be fantastic. Colossal is able to avoid a move and go for the Sacred Sword there onto Seismitoad here. Seismitoad with the healing, which it does fail because there is no one on the bench. Barbaracle with the Solar Beam now. This is going to do quad effective damage to Seismitoad, and Seismitoad is eliminated with that move. The Pewter Stones are in front. Swampert is an easy target right now, but Swampert is going to use Poltergeist to attack Barbaracle with its own Leopard Berry. This will level the playing field, but Colossal is at full strength. Swampert needs to capitalize on its water typing. Colossal, though, is going to have tea time. It's going to call a truce for a little bit to eat its berry with Swampert here on the field. But both these sides, as I said, have a lot riding on this matchup, and they are down to their last Pokemon. Swampert is going to go for the Rock Slide, trying to capitalize on that Fire typing. It will get a really good hit there with the super effective hit, and Colossal is flinched as well. That Psycho Shift, though, is not what Swampert needed to do, as a Flower Shield does fail from Colossal, and then nasty plot down from Swampert. Both these Pokemon need to keep on the offensive, especially Swampert, who's such an easy target. It does boost its special attack. The Healing Wish fails from Colossal. This opens the door for Swampert to go for the Fairy Wind. This will be resisted due to that Fire typing of Colossal, though, who goes for the Volt Tackle, which doesn't affect Swampert, and now Swampert can go for the multi-attack. These two Pokemon back and forth. It's not very effective, however, and Colossal sets up an Ingrain. This does slow down the play. It will be restoring health in between turns, but it doesn't need to worry about restoring health right now. It needs to get this elimination. Aurora Veil fails from Swampert, though, and now Colossal is going to go for the Sacred Sword, and this will finish Swampert off. This will end the 3-game winning streak that the Pony Canyon were building on and give the Pewter Stones a much-needed victory. This will move them up into 4th place. They have leapt all the way up into the Elite Four. The Pony Canyon Fissure will stay where they are, and in their next matchup, they will be facing the Golden Red Balance. The Pewter Stones, though, with a massive win here, as I said, move their way up into the Elite Four, and their next matchup will be against the Searchers of Frost, who in our very next game will be facing the Shamuti Keepers. They will have the type advantage, as the Searchers of Frost are trying to keep their season alive. The Shamuti Keepers are trying to leapfrog the Pewter Stones now to get their way into the Elite Four. But until that game, Nidorinos and Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below who you thought was the best on field. And if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe. But more importantly, always remember, you are awesome.